Okay, today's lesson we're going to do is some basics, basic guitar stuff, like how to set up your guitar, how to get a sound, how to tune up, and all the really sort of easy, everyday things that guitarists sort of take for granted, but a beginner might not really know in depth. So, first thing, obviously we would plug the guitar in and tune up. The best thing, always get a tuner. I like to use an electric tuner. I've worked with a lot of people who don't like tuners. Nothing more annoying than that. So just get a tuner, one that works well, test them out. See, I'm not perfectly in tune. Alright, tune up. What I like to do when I tune, this is my little habit. When I'm tuning up to a string, I use the key. Okay, but if a string is too sharp, it's too high, and I want to go down, I'll generally just bend it like this. I'll just give it a stretch, and look at my tuner, and it'll go down again. Always tune up to a note. Definitely don't tune down to your note. Go below the note and then tune up to it. It's good to stretch your strings, stretch them all before you tune them. Stretch them in the middle, at the end, give it a good yank. That way, if it's going to loosen up and go out of tune, you'll do it now while you're stretching, not later on. Stretch them out, then tune. Don't pluck it too hard, but I like to pluck it about, not super light either. Give it a little, just a nice pluck, even each time. You feel you're in tune, move on. Okay. Now I'm going to stretch my E was a little high. Now it's low. Okay. After tuning, you want to get a basic sound. Let's check it again. Okay. Sound. I like to keep everything up on my dials. I keep them, dime them at first, at least. Okay. Treble switch, you want to get a nice kind of a Led Zeppelin-y, Might be a little too dirty for some folks. I like to have a little bit of dirt on board like that, and what I'll do is I'll just ease back my volume. Just a little. So I could always get a little bit of extra juice at the end if I need it somewhere. I like to have a nice sweet tone up here on the rhythm pickup. Use your tone if you want to ease it back just a tiny bit to keep that just a little sweeter, not so twangy. Depends on what you're doing, the sound you're going for. I like to really dig into a Les Paul, just sustain, very important. Try to get some sustain so that you could. If you can't get your guitar to sustain, there might be a problem with the action of the setup. Maybe you gotta raise it up a little bit, but yeah, it's a ring out like that. If I need a little more distortion, I can turn up my volume dial. A little less, I bring down the volume dial. It's nice to have a tiny bit of dirt on board. Just it gives you some sustain and makes it sound richer. Even if you're playing clean stuff like that way you can dig in a little harder. So much dirt. Ease down the volume. Ease it down. this way I've got all my clean stuff on board when I want to, you know, play clean. Now, obviously, one of the good things about having a 3-position switch is that you can set a couple of different tones. So if you have a song that starts off with a mellow intro or something like, you know, and then it gets heavy at the end, you could set your heavy tone on the treble pickup. You turn the volume all the way up on that one. And then you set the top tone a little more mellow. Rhythm pickup. So that way, with the flick of the switch, you change your tone when you're ready for it. Two different tones, you got them set. And then you got something in the middle, which is somewhere in between. It's a blend of both pickups, obviously. I never use the middle. Plenty of people do. It's got a cool sound, but I tend to use one or the other, top or bottom. Okay, tone. Some of the things that a lot of beginners tend to do is play out of tune. So check your tuning. That's kind of like the sign of a novice. You're playing out of tune. Number 2, get a decent tone. Work on the tone. Tone is very, very important, and it's all about control, having control. So I'm in control. No feedback. So these volume dials are really setting my sustain, my distortion, a lot of things, the treble, the bass, it's affecting a lot. So the idea is to get this right at the point where it feels and sounds perfect. For you, you know, you bring the volume down, turn up a little more tone for a little bit more brilliance or presence. It's all about control, controlling your tone and keeping it exactly where you want. Control is also the right hand. Palm muting will help you to develop control over your sustain. Using your right hand and your left hand, you mute so nothing comes out at the right times. Reverb. Reverb is something good to have a little bit of it. Personally, I think it's up a little too high right now, but it's kind of a cheap amp, and it's just not good reverb. So I think a little bit will give you some presence and just keep your guitar in the mix in a more pleasant way. Control, sustain. Stay in tune, important. Keep checking your tuning. You should have a mute function on your tuner, so it's silent. Nobody hears you tuning. Ding, 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 ding. Nobody likes that, yeah. And okay, let's work on a couple other things now. I'm going to turn the volume way down on the top here in my rhythm pickup. I'm going to ease it up. Now, tone is also going to be affected by where you play it. If you get to play right next to the bridge here, it's going to be very twangy. If you play over here in the middle, it's going to be sweeter. An old trick is, get to the treble pickup. I don't want too much distortion, so I'm going to turn it down and play right next to the bridge, You know that? So that'll give you some snap down there, like the Venture stuff. And then playing down here in the middle will make it infinitely smoother. Bring it over here to the bridge. So if you want something twangy, you could also move to the treble pickup. It's more kind of indicative of that sound. Tone, very important. You've all heard people do this, Okay, palm muting. Right hand. I'm going right next to the bridge, lifting it. So what I actually do is I anchor myself here and I lift, lift. That's giving me my control, so I'm muting the strings, not muting, but I stay anchored here and here. So everything is controlled. There's no loose movements. Everything's very, very controlled. The only thing I'm really moving is right here. So I stay very controlled. And whenever I want that chord to bust out, I'm lifting my palm. So, one note, A note. This side, I don't need the E string. Okay, it's a second position chord dealing with the A root. And then these three notes, 1, 2, 3, an A chord. The E note is not in it, so I want to mute that string out. Now, these are things that we do without even thinking. My thumb is muting it here, so no E note. What I'm going to do is palm mute the A string and get that thing like the Cars thing. If you listen to the Cars' first two albums, the Cars and Candy-O, they do a lot of this stuff. That's a good rock technique. That's a second position kind of chord thing. So what I'm basically doing is I'm playing an A chord here, okay? The root is the open A note, and then second fret, 1, 2, 3. So second fret, and second fret. It's a little square. That's your A chord, open A chord. Only I'm going to use this, and I'm going to just bar those three notes. So root, and then 1, 2, 3 notes, kind of like a triad there. Now, the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to put middle finger, the B string, 1 fret above there, and the next finger, ring finger, on the D string, 2 frets above. So it's this one. You're just adding another one. So you add those,